Mr. Niklas-Hoeret, please.
Thank you very much, Boto-san, for the introduction. I'm back on stage, so now we will talk a little bit about something that will come up more in detail after the coffee break. We've talked a lot about the regions. Now let's also talk about something which is called SDV Alliance. So I don't know whether the presenter mode is not correct today. Maybe you want to look into it. It still has some bars on top and on the bottom. But let's see if we will also be able to navigate with that. So the SDV Alliance is something which we announced in the CES 2024 at the Covisa evening reception, and I want to give you some more insights into the topic from my point of view. So of course, this is a joint effort, and we will see some more details later on. So let's see whether we click. Okay, we are back to the working mode from this morning. So Ray, if you can please go to the next slide, so we'll be very happy. Yeah? Sorry for the difficulties. So while Ray is fixing the technical things, let's talk a little bit about what has been the original intention. So the SDV Alliance and SDV in general has certain motivations, right? So we had in several speeches today that the software-defined vehicle of the future, it will have different aspects that are expected to be solved. So today we learned also that the software-defined vehicle is hardware-driven. In the future it will be more software-driven. So we have also a more dynamic approach towards software. Additionally, there are also features and services expected to evolve after the car is in the field. So updated features is something OEMs and tiers look to also very much in the future. Third aspect is, of course, that we want to have a software-driven approach, but not only for one car, but for multiple car lines. So we need to be able to manage multiple car lines. Fourth aspect is we want to get rid of issues in the field as an industry. So you want to be able to fix bugs, fix incidents that happen. Fifth aspect is, of course, extending the life cycle of the vehicle. So different OEMs want to extend the experiences that the consumers have with their brand cars, and also alignment of the digital world. And I don't know, there's some delay with the clicker, so if we can go back to the second slide. I don't have a clicker at all, so it's magically moving. And we can go back to the SDV. Okay.
Hold on, Michael gave the
I don't know if it's me as a person, but it seems to be the system seems to seek out me personally. So it's the same issue this morning, so I apologize for that. Yeah. I continue with the motivation for software-defined vehicle. I mean, we have had a lot of presentations today, and we also will have some presentations tomorrow, which will motivate why the software-defined vehicle is necessary. So there's not something new, not some surprises. So there are many, many more examples than on this slide, and we come then on the next slide to some studies. So what is the commercial effect? To 2023, already 50% of the car manufacturers want to have features available that can be provided via software updates. And also 44% of the people that have been asked in the study said they are willing to pay money after buying the car. There are certain features available, so 40% of them would even go beyond $50. This shows that there is also an incentive and interest in the market to make money after the car is being produced. So after these two introductory slides, let's come to the next one. So what is the essential part for the SDV Alliance? So before we come to what the SDV Alliance is, essentially will be the communication, right? So we need a joint and clear definition of the software-defined vehicle. Peter mentioned it, this is really important that we as an industry have a joint definition, and with this joint definition we're also exchanging the Federate SDV Alliance counter such a definition. Which also means we need an aligned vision on the architecture. So an aligned vision on maybe some building blocks, as you have mentioned it, but it also puts some challenges to us, like for example challenges that we have to solve in the collaboration, the different legal aspects we need to take care about, and also challenges in the sense that we want to integrate technologies together. Now, in the third pillar, what collaboration means in the context of the SDV Alliance is based on code. So we have had already a lot of topics that innovation is often also code-driven. So we want to have as much as possible open licensed and easily adopted and improved methods for code. So the next slide, we see what the SDV Alliance is. So the SDV Alliance is basically an alliance between 4 standardization organizations, namely AutoSAR, Covisa, SOFI, and Eclipse SDV. As mentioned also by Lorena, we talked before, diversity is key. So diversity in this case also means that all of those organizations have different technical challenges that they are solving today with different mindsets. So if you want to create a software-defined vehicle that will fit to the demands of the automotive industry, we are quite confident that this is something not one organization can do alone. But if we team up, we can solve this challenge together. And with that, we have an ecosystem, more than 500 companies. We have 4 established standardization organizations that work on different technical topics. And with that, we can combine different technologies like cloud, like software orchestration, like safety, secure functionality, deep embedded systems, and also with different collaboration approaches like open source and forward standardization. So next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, the launch was in the Visa networking reception, where around about 2,200 people participated in Las Vegas this year, and the SDV Alliance had a booth there, so you can see some of the representatives from different organizations in the forum. On the next slide, we will basically see what does collaboration mean for the SDV Alliance. So let's take, first of all, we need to align the SDV ecosystem. So automotive industry tends to do things not only once, but twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and then afterwards fighting and thinking which one should take the lead. So we want to reduce this effort. We want to work together and align to understand how can we fix the challenges, how can we tackle the challenges of the software defined vehicle together. Second is we can only tackle a problem jointly if we have the same understanding of the problem, or of the challenge. In this case, we need the same understanding what constitutes an SDV, what constitutes a software-defined vehicle. So this is something also which we want to collaborate together. Then third, the challenges will be tackled with technologies. So we need to identify what technologies will be necessary for the software-defined vehicle, and which of the organizations is able to provide this technology in the context of the SDV. Next is, of course, we also need to be able to explain to others what a software-defined vehicle is, why it makes sense to collaborate, and so on and so forth. And also pooling of skill is very important. If I take now an architecture guy who has done AutoSAR for 10 years, he knows microcontroller better than everybody else, but he won't be able to fix a problem in, or find a solution for something which is deeply in cloud architectures, and the other way around. So we will need this pooling of skill that technologies will work together in the future. And of course, focus is also important for companies, that they want to understand if I'm engaging with certain artifacts, what's my requirements with respect to intellectual property rights, where does it take place in the architecture, and what kind of technologies are available for me, which is the last bullet point. So these are the topics we're looking into in the SDV Alliance. So next slide, please. There are obviously some questions that pop into your head. First one, Is the SDV Alliance something that is another membership I have to pay for as a company? And the answer is no. It's basically an exchange between the four organizations. At the moment, mainly happening on the head of the organizations. And second is the SDV Alliance limited to the four organizations that you have seen before? No, this is not the case. So we also open to discuss with others that are interested and like-minded to help to shape the SDV. The third question, how can I get involved? Any company that is basically part of the four organizations mentioned can get involved. The next question is, will the SDV Alliance have some technological results that will have a certain IP? And the answer is a clear no. So the intention is not to create another consortium where another IP pool with another policy is created, but really to identify where are white spots, where are overlaps between the consortia, and figuring out how we deal with them in the future with different options. So the technological aspects still will take place in the organizations themselves. And last but not least, where will I find the results? The results are intended to be published in an open GitHub repository. So next slide, Ray. So the key assets I will skip due to the time. I think we can also read through them offline. So the main assets obviously is for Covisa, they have a strong community with respect to interaction with the cloud. For AutoSol, we have seen before, we have a good expertise in performance for embedded systems and communication between those systems, safety and security. For Eclipse, they have a good understanding of open source communities, managing open source. And for Sophie, they have a good understanding of mixed criticality orchestration and also applying concepts from a cloud-native computing foundation area for automotive domain. On the next slide, you're basically having an introduction. There are several demonstrators out there, so just 3 examples, some of them companies provided as showcases in the CES. So short-term demonstrators are available. We call them lovely Frankenstein demonstrators because they're somewhat patched together and are basically just proving that the things are not essentially incompatible. But in mid-term, we want to also build up some demonstrator which shows different technologies which we see from the definition of a software-defined vehicle as relevant to put them together and then show that those technologies are compatible in the field. So next would be, what's next? Obviously, there are 4 work streams. We have been very busy first half of the year, the entire automotive industry. So this work stream has been defined last year, so they need to be restarted. So we have also all of the coordinating colleagues here. So the restart we will do based on our discussions also at this conference. And there are basically 4 topics which we're looking into. One is vision and strategy, work stream that should also work on an aligned definition of the software-defined vehicle. Second work stream is a demonstrator. As I mentioned before, at the moment we're working there more on this stitch together demonstrators. But the midterm goal would be to take the outputs from vision and strategy to implement based on a unified definition, then a forward-looking demonstrator. Then legal. So we have we called it IP work stream because legal and IP work stream because at the end of the day, the SDV is something that's interested from a company perspective now. Yeah? And the companies need to understand if I want to adopt the result of the organizations, do I need to be a member? Yes or no? How do I change things? How do I contribute things in the context of the SDV Alliance? Here's the goal to think about guidelines for companies to help them understand how they can shape the SDV ecosystem via the mentioned consortia. And last but not least, the marketing and outreach, obviously to also promote the idea. If you're interested, so next slide you will see the context. So I'm basically representing AutoSol SDV Alliance. We have also Steve here on site. He is representing Covisa SDV Alliance. We have Michael, who will also have a talk after the coffee break, representing the Eclipse SDV, the SDV Alliance. We have also Robert Day here, representing Sophie in the SDV Alliance. As mentioned, after the kickoff, it got a little bit silent, but now we need to reboot the work streams. And a lot of people ask me, what will be the expected success from the SDV Alliance? And I say, worst case, it's a formal exchange which helps us as an industry to understand where we're going. And best case, it will be an organization that helps to create as smooth as possible technical experiences for the engineers out there building software-defined vehicles. And somewhere in the spectrum, I think, with the collaboration, the companies in this collaboration, we will end up. So thank you very much for your time. And with that, I give back, I don't know, is the organizational announcement necessary? Then I will get back to Goto-san. Thanks.
Yeah.